guys, and welcome to another review by Projects. I'm Psycho, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Call of Duty, the first part, and United Offensive. So, I'm gonna start with the first part. The story in Call of Duty features realistic events from real World War I battles. The events have been, well, slightly changed, so it is more, it introduces a more appropriate playstyle for the player, and the maps have been made linear, so you can't really get lost in them. As in some of the games, some of the first-person shooter games, in which you have like huge maps. In this one, the maps are kind of big, but they are quite linear. So even if you travel for a long time, you'll reach an endpoint and you won't be able to go on. The game itself and the story is not too long, but it is maybe a bit short. It could be a bit more detailed and could feature more of the events or more details of a certain event. But compared to other Call of Duty games, these two, and including Call of Duty 2, are probably the longest by gameplay in the series up to now. The game keeps you entertained for the whole amount of time that you're playing it. It's a fun game. It's still one of the most popular games, although it's been made, I don't know, I think about 10 or 15 years ago, at least. But still keeps you entertained. It's for a reason. They are one of the most popular games and also franchises all up to now. As far as the gameplay goes, it is among the most popular games, and for a reason. Although it's as old as it is, the gameplay is amazing. It is fun. It features real World War I battles, and keeps you entertained in them, even in the single-player mode. But if you go and play it on the multiplayer mode, it can be really fun, because a lot of players, older and newer, still play it, and it's probably a game that will never die. The single player mode provides a bit of a challenge on the hardest mode. On the normal mode, the gameplay is kind of more on the storyline and not so much on the challenging shooting. It still provides a multiplayer mode, but as said, it is popular, but much less popular than the next game that was made in the franchise, Call of Duty 2. The graphics, are, as the game was made, the graphics were good. But comparing it to today's, a high definition mod could be introduced. At the time it was made, those were good graphics. You can do a lot of tweaking, and is still working on almost all of the computers. It worked on all of the computers when it was made, so I see no reason why it wouldn't work on the newer ones. In my opinion, the first part has really solid graphics, a linear story, events follow as they have in real life. The game keeps you interested. It is not too long. It could be longer, as said before, and provides hours of good entertainment, especially on multiplayer. In my opinion, this and Call of Duty 2 are still one of the best games that were made in the franchise, in the first-person shooter franchise, actually, not only in the Call of Duty franchise, up to now. So, going to the second part of this review, the United Offensive part. The United Offensive part is like the second part of Call of Duty 1. It also features realistic battles. It's pretty much It is kind of the same as the first part, but it features different stories. So, as in the first part, and probably all the other Call of Duty games that were made up to now, it still continues the linear story gameplay, the not getting lost in the maps part, and is still not too long, so you can enjoy it and kind of not get bored of it, even though you can play it all the time. As said before, United Offensive is also probably one of the longest games, Call of Duty games, in as far as the gameplay goes. The other ones were shorter than the first 3 parts that were released, but still could use some tweaking. But all in all, it keeps you entertained through all of the hours of gameplay that it takes to complete the whole game. The gameplay stays the same as in the first part. No major changes have been made. So I'm not really gonna talk much about it here. So the graphics have not been tweaked, also stayed the same. Basically, the only part that was changed in the game was the storyline and the maps that you can play. It is still a great game, still features good graphics for the time that it was made, can do a lot of tweaking, and still works on pretty much all computers. So, in my opinion, it is a good second part. It changes the story, it takes you to a whole different perspective. So, these games are worth playing even on single player mode if you haven't played them before, so I highly recommend them. And, well, that's pretty much gonna be it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, comment on the videos, and I'm gonna see you in the next review that I'm gonna be making. This is Psycho for Projects, and I'll be seeing you guys.